Hello, I'm Thunderflare, Brony Analysis Extraordinaire, and, well, this is the first episode of my Season 4 vlog, so let's just get to it. Alright, first things first. First thing I noticed about this episode that maintained throughout the entire episode, it is gorgeous. I thought that the animation looked good before. Wow, was I proven wrong. I didn't think they could be any better than they were in Season 3, but they could. And they had doubled the workload on the animation this time, so I'm not sure how come this is such better animation quality as over Season 3. Were they working that hard on the movie? I don't know. But yeah, episode looks great. It has some stunning visuals, lots of bright colors, and that maintains throughout. It deals a lot with the fact that Twilight's a princess now, so she has to face new challenges, new duties. She has to consider more things than just her friends and that just her immediate ability to deal with the situation. She also handles the authority well. When the royal guards come to her and say, "What are your orders?" there's a moment where you see that she is kind of ready to totally freak out. But then she just takes a moment to breathe in and realizes, okay, we gotta do this shit. And gets right down to business. Tells them exactly what they need to do. And yeah, I think that works. We see some of the tension still there, but see that Celestia's decision to make her a princess was a wise one. Because despite that tension, when the rubber meets the road, Twilight can get stuff done. The rest of the characters do get some time to shine, except for Pinkie Pie. She oddly gets shafted in this episode. That's really weird. In the episodes where Pinkie Pie is in the focus, she at least has something interesting to do. But here they seem to have forgotten what to do with her. They don't seem to have interesting for her to do. And the gags they have for her, they're funny, but they don't feel prominent or necessary. You know, it doesn't feel like it adds much to the experience. Rarity gets a good time to shine. Applejack really has things down. She's the one that's thinking straight throughout the whole thing, being all practical like she's supposed to be. I felt better about Applejack in this episode than I did in most episodes. Not that I felt negatively towards her, I just never cared particularly. Rainbow Dash is pretty much the same as ever. She's just the one that goes in, charges in, not thinking like, "Alright, Mrs. Judas Leroy!" Fluttershy, of course, is nervous about going into this threat, but knows it needs to be done. I like the fact they stopped playing up Fluttershy as a coward. I was getting very, very sick of their making Fluttershy ultra introverted and just terrified of everything. Spike, he does not get to shine in this episode, really. He's not particularly bad in the episode, except for the one part where he says, "Oh, Twilight's in trouble," then faints. That seemed to be something going on a lot with him. Twilight might want to check his blood sugar levels because he seems to be having strokes or something. I don't know what's going on with him, but he fainted all the time in this episode. It was really very weird because he doesn't have a tendency to faint throughout the series. It was like they tried to think of something funny for him to do because they couldn't think of anything serious for him to do, so that was just weird. That's it for the main characters, and now let's start talking about those secondary characters. Celestia was fabulous in this episode. Celestia feels incredible guilt over what she had to do to Princess Luna, which, yeah, that was probably a given. But the fact that they actually touch about it on the show, and they did also touch on it in the comics, but this one really talks about it in detail, and Celestia actually brings herself to tears thinking about what she had to do. And we actually see the event, which is pretty freaking epic. The battle between Celestia and Nightmare Moon, it was fantastic, and it really felt emotional. You felt Celestia's emotion. She refused to fight Nightmare Moon. And Nightmare Moon, of course, curb stomps her because she won't fight back. And when she finally realizes, I have to stop her, wow. Oh, it's just a really good scene. And I really feel Celestia became a much more interesting character because of this. So now let's get to the real thief of this episode. The guy that totally steals the show. The guy that this all is about. The guy that Hasbro advertised the shit out of in their promos. Discord. Oh my goodness, Discord. Discord was freaking gold in this episode. You know, Twilight immediately assumes, oh, this is all Discord's doing. And, of course, Discord plays the card we all know he's gonna play. Like, wait a minute, I'm reformed. So you guys are just gonna turn me into stone every time there's a sign of trouble? And Fluttershy, of course, sides with him, pointing out they don't know for sure if it's Discord, and it would be kind of embarrassing to turn him back into a real Draconicus and say, oh, sorry for the false accusations. And although Discord is not really interested in helping them solve their problem, he does direct them where they can find a solution, which is Zecora. How Zecora can help them find the solution is not properly explained, and I'm not sure how Discord would know she would be able to help them, but maybe over time he has gotten to know who's who in Ponyville and knew that Zecora lives in the Everfree Forest and would have something that would help them. It's actually a potion that only responds to Alicorn magic. And I am kind of wondering why Zecora would have such a potion, but since we already have Zecora's established personality, established character, I kind of brush it off as something she could conceivably have. When Twilight uses her magic on it, she is able to see events from the past, like the before-mentioned battle between Nightmare Moon and Celestia, the battle between Celestia, Luna, and Discord, and finally, where they got the Elements of Harmony. We finally find out what the Elements of Harmony are. They actually came from the Tree of Harmony. Surprise! It was awesome, and Twilight realized, after they got to the Tree of Harmony, that there was only one way to save it. Only one way. And that was give it back to the Elements of Harmony. This, of course, was an incredible problem, and her friends pointed out exactly why this was a problem. Because, oh yeah, Discord is free. What's going to stop him from doing whatever he wants? But Twilight pointed out they couldn't depend on the Elements of Harmony, and Discord was technically being helpful. So he was actually showing signs of being reformed. So they give the Elements of Harmony back. They give it up. And that's a huge game changer. I actually thought that was a bigger game changer than making Twilight a princess, because that was a key element of the show that kind of backed up the subtitle of it being Friendship is Magic. But now, well, things are changing. It gave a little indication of the arc we're going to be seeing. in this season. The Tree of Harmony then presented a little box with 6 keyholes. Gee, I wonder what's going to happen there. Is it possible the main 6 are going to have to go on various journeys and find those keys? And each key will have some sort of connection to their inner spirit. Yeah, kind of predictable, but I actually like the idea. And it teases at an arc, not at, oh, this is just going to be the finale. Derp, derp. Oh, but absolute favorite part of the episode. Right at the end when Discord says, oh, by the way, I was behind the whole thing. And he actually shows Twilight something from the scene where he gets turned into stone from the past, you know, when Celestia and Luna stand up to him. And he shows him that something he was doing that just at first seemed like Discord just being Discord. He seemed to be eating these weird seeds and just spraying them all over the place, just terribly rude. And at first he just thought it was Discord being Discord, but he said, no, those were my plunder seeds. I was just planting them, hoping they would stop the Tree of Harmony, but that plan didn't work out. I guess eventually they did get strong enough to do it. Sorry, guys. And that was hilarious. The fact that Discord managed to throw me for a loop, just like he threw Twilight for a loop, just like he threw the whole main 6-layer loop. That made my day. Made my night, really, because I watched this in the middle of the night. So overall, I would rate this episode as excellent. Now, that's just my initial reaction, of course. Over time, after multiple viewings, my opinion might change a bit. There were a few problems. There was a short sequence where Twilight's friends decided that it would be best for Equestria if Twilight stayed behind. It was kind of jarring. It didn't feel like something they would normally say, and at first I was thinking that the Everfree Force was actually somehow manipulating them, because it just felt so jarring. And when they realized they were wrong to do that, once again, it felt jarring. What would have been better is if they spent more time having the characters rationalize this decision and talk more about it later, why it turned out to be a bad idea. To be honest, that scene with Nightmare Moon finding Celestia, that was completely pointless. That was just nothing but blatant fan service. It really served no purpose to the overall narrative. And if you lost that, you would have had a lot of time to deal with that issue of Twilight's friends telling her to stay behind because she's a princess now. That was the part that just felt a little weird. It didn't feel completely right. And when you have a scene that you can really do without, you really don't have any excuse for even the slightest poor pacing. If it somehow didn't have that pacing issue, that one pacing issue, and still had that awesome fight with Luna and Celestia, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I mean, because, wow, it was an awesome scene. And I'm really glad I got to see that. And I would still rate this episode as excellent. It's excellent. And it's so good that I want to be watching it right now. Again. And in fact, that's what I'm going to be doing. Bye.